All right, you know the feeling.
Yeah.
You're working on something creative, maybe using AI for images, and you're so close. You get that great visual, the character looks right, the logo's perfect, and then boom, the face changes just slightly. Or your product gets this weird reflection, or the logo kind of drifts off center. It's that frustrating wobble, right? It can just kill your workflow, waste so much time.
Oh yeah, that wobble is a real pain point for anyone doing creative work with these tools.
Exactly. So if that sounds familiar, then you're in the right place for today's deep dive. We're going to unpack Google's new Gemini 2.5 Flash image. It's the one they're saying can finally fix that inconsistency problem. Apparently, it even has this quirky internal nickname, Nano Banana.
Hey, yeah, Nano Banana. Sketchy.
And the buzz is it's a pretty major upgrade for AI image editing. So our mission today is to figure out what's real and what's just hype. What is Gemini 2.5 Flash image really? Why are people calling it a game changer? How does it actually stack up against other tools you might be using already? And, the big question is, what does it all mean for you and how you get stuff done?
Well, it's precisely that wobble, that inconsistency, that Gemini 2.5 Flash image is designed to tackle. And what's really interesting here, I think, is how Google built this system specifically to address that core frustration. Historically, a lot of these AI image features, they looked amazing in demos, right?
Totally. You see the potential, but then trying to use it reliably, different story.
Exactly. You couldn't quite trust them for actual production work where consistency matters. This release feels different.
Yeah.
It's really about bringing that consistency, that stability, that reliability to the forefront, making those cool demo features genuinely robust and dependable enough for real projects.
Okay, so we're moving past, that's kind of close to something like consistently spot on. How does it actually do that? What's under the hood with Nano Banana that makes it different for generating and editing images?
So at its heart, Gemini 2.5 Flash Image is Google's latest system for this. You can use it in the Gemini app, but it's also available through an API for developers. The whole design philosophy seems centered on giving you precise control using prompts, allowing for really fast back and forth edits or iteration, and the crucial part, maintaining consistent subjects across lots of different images.
The consistency piece again.
Right. That Nano Banana nickname, it kind of fits, doesn't it? Suggests something small, powerful, but really effective at that fine-grained level. It's aiming for predictability. And honestly, predictability is like gold in generative AI right now.
Predictability. Yeah, tell me about it. That would save so much headache in a creative workflow. So for those of us wanting to, kick the tires on this, where do we start? What's the way in?
Good question. You could actually start playing around with it directly in the Gemini app. They have different tiers, free and paid. But if you're a developer or maybe part of a team wanting to build this into a bigger process...
Like an automated workflow or something?
Exactly. You can smoothly transition over to using the API that's available through Google AI Studio or Vertex AI. And there are even partner platforms like OpenRouter and fal.ai offering access. The main thing is you're using the same core engine, whether you're just doing a quick edit in the app or building something much more complex.
Okay, that flexibility is good. Same power, different access points. Now, anyone who's wrestled with AI image tools has probably dreamed of this.
Yeah.
The AI just gets what you want and sticks with it. Gemini 2.5 Flash image seems to be promising exactly that. So what are the specific superpowers it offers? What are the practical changes that will actually make a difference in how we create?
Yeah, the practical improvements are pretty significant, and they hit a lot of those common pain points we mentioned. The first one, and honestly maybe the single biggest leap, is what they call character consistency that sticks.
Okay, consistency again. Tell me more.
Imagine you're creating a whole campaign. Maybe it features a specific person or a brand mascot or even just a product. With this, the idea is that their appearance space, unique features, texture, whatever, stays exactly the same across every single image.
Wow, okay. Even if you change other things.
That's the key. You can change their clothes, the lighting, the whole scene, even the camera angle. But that core identity, it stays locked in, perfectly preserved. Think about what that means for visual storytelling. Teams can focus on the narrative, not constantly policing pixels to make sure the character hasn't morphed.
That's huge,
Yeah.
especially for branding, advertising, character design.
Yeah.
Any series, really. It's like having a perfect digital actor.
That's a great way to put it. An actor who never misses their mark, visually speaking. Then the next big thing is multi-image fusion that builds scenes.
Fusion, so combining images.
Exactly, but seamlessly. It lets you blend several existing photos into one totally new, cohesive image. Think about maybe a real estate agent wanting to show a room with different furniture layouts.
Virtual staging, but maybe easier.
Potentially, yeah. Or a product designer showing their gadget in different lifestyle shots. You could, like the example says, drop your dog into an existing family photo, or totally restyle a room with new decor pulled from another image.
Hmm.
And the result isn't supposed to look like a bad cut and paste job. It should feel intentional. The AI understands depth, lighting, perspective, and integrates the elements naturally.
Okay, that sounds incredibly powerful for iteration. You don't have to start from zero every time. Big time saver potential there.
Huge time saver. And it ties into the next point, prompt-based local edits.
Editing just by typing.
Pretty much. Instead of messing around with selection tools and masks, you just tell the AI what needs changing using natural language. Things like remove the person walking in the background, or make the background a bit blurry, fix that little stain on the shirt.
Seriously, like nudge the character's pose slightly left.
Yeah, or add a steaming coffee cup on the table. The model is designed to figure out the masks, the edges, all that tricky stuff behind the scenes. It's sort of like having that mind-reading assistant you always wanted, but, one that actually works.
Huh. Okay, that does sound like a breakthrough. But wait, with editing just using words, surely there are times it misunderstands or gets confused. What are the, common pitfalls there?
That's a really good point. It is incredibly powerful, but it's not magic. The key seems to be specificity and doing things step by step. If you throw 5 complex changes at it in one prompt, yeah, it might get confused or prioritize weirdly.
So break it down.
Exactly. It's usually better to ask for 1 or 2 clear changes, see the result, then ask for the next thing, iterate. It's less about gotchas and more about learning how to communicate clearly with this new kind of visual tool. And alongside that, we're seeing improvements in design mixing and template adherence.
Design mixing, like styles.
Yeah, you can lift the color palette or the texture, maybe even the whole photographic style from one image and apply it to something in another image. Super useful for keeping things consistent across a whole series. Imagine employee badges or product listings in a catalog, or those real estate cards. The underlying design, the template, stays the same even when the picture inside changes.
Okay, that capability alone, I can see how that could completely change how big brands manage all their visuals.
Absolutely. And one last piece. World knowledge for practical tasks. This basically means the model isn't just seeing pixels, it has a better understanding of the content of the image.
So it knows what things are?
To a degree, yes, which allows it to follow more complex instructions with fewer attempts needed. Like, you could ask it to generate an illustration based on a technical diagram you provide, or request a layout matching a well-known design style. It gets the underlying context better, not just matching keywords blindly.
So it's moving beyond just pattern matching pixels to actually understanding intent and context a bit more.
That sounds robust.
Okay, let's shift to the practical side. What's this going to cost, and what are the limitations we should know about before jumping in?
Right, essentials. Cost is always key. Google's using a token-based model here. Think of a token as just a small unit of data. Could be part of a word, or in this case, part of an image. They've standardized it, so each image generation counts as 12,290 output tokens.
Okay, and what does that mean in actual money?
Well, based on their standard rates, which are around $30 per $1 million output tokens, doing the math, it comes out to roughly $0.039 per image, to just under 4 cents.
Under 4 cents per image. That seems pretty reasonable, actually.
Yeah, and that price includes adding both a visible mark and that invisible synthide watermark for tracking where the image came from. We can talk more about that later. The model makes small tests cheap, and even if you're doing big batches, the cost stays predictable.
Good to know. And limitations. Things it can't do, or where we need to be careful.
Definitely some things to keep in mind. To get the best results, they recommend using up to 3 input images per request, generally. More than that might get unpredictable. Also, important note, right now it doesn't take audio or video files as input for generating images. It's image and text inputs only for image outputs.
Got it. No video to image stuff yet.
Not for this specific feature, no. And while it's pretty good at putting text images like labels or short phrases, very long passages of text might still need an extra editing pass or refinement. It's a common challenge for these models. And like I mentioned, every single output gets that synthide watermark baked in. No exceptions.
Okay, helpful guardrails. Predictable costs, clear input limits. That helps with planning. Now, let's put this Nano Banana in context. How does it compare to other tools out there? Maybe start with Google's other big image model, Imagen 4. Where do they differ?
Right. Good comparison to make since they're from the same place but have different strengths. The main difference really boils down to a couple of key areas, I think. First is consistency versus pure fidelity. Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, as we've said, really nails that consistent character identity across multiple edits, and it's excellent at seamlessly fusing multiple images. It's built for that stable subject across a project.
So the living workflow idea.
Exactly. Imagen 4, on the other hand, probably still has a slight edge if what you need is the absolute highest photorealistic detail in a single image or really complex, perfect typography.
Like for one perfect hero shot.
Yeah, if that single frame's fidelity is the absolute top priority, Imagen 4 might still be the choice. The second difference is workflow integration. Gemini 2.5 Flash Image is designed for conversational editing. You can go back and forth with prompts to refine things.
Like we talked about with the prompt-based edits.
Right. Imagen 4's conversational abilities are more limited, and Gemini's token-based pricing often makes it more cost-effective for those iterative workflows where you're generating lots of variations, maybe for brand systems or templates where consistency is king.
So it's not really which is better overall,
Right.
but which is better for this specific job.
Precisely. Need that evolving workflow with stable subjects, Gemini 2.5 Flash Image. Need that one absolutely stunning, photoreal still with flawless text. Imagen 4 might still have the slight advantage there.
That distinction, single frame versus living workflow, that really clarifies it. Thanks. Okay, let's zoom out even more. Most people listening probably already use tools like Photoshop, maybe Midjourney, maybe DALL-E 3. How does Nano Banana fit into that mix? Does it replace them, complement them?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question for working creatives, right? Where does a new tool fit? And the answer is almost always it depends, but we can break it down. For identity consistency, Gemini 2.5 Flash Image seems to have a real edge with its strong, repeatable consistency across a series.
Compared.
Well, Photoshop needs you to do that manually, meticulously, with layers and masks. Midjourney's consistency can vary a lot depending on your prompt. DALL-E 3 is pretty good, but can still drift sometimes. So for scaling up consistent visuals, Gemini looks very strong.
Okay, clear advantage there for certain tasks. What about editing and combining images?
Gemini offers that native, fast, pumped-based editing and the multi-image fusion. Photoshop is, of course, the king of pixel-perfect control with masks, but it's manual work. Midjourney has pretty limited local editing control. DALL-E 3 has decent in-painting capabilities, but Gemini's approach feels maybe more integrated and faster for those language-based tweaks.
So different approaches to editing. And the best overall use case?
I'd say Midjourney still has its unique strength in concept art and mood boarding with its really distinct visual styles. Photoshop is irreplaceable for that high-end, pixel-accurate artisan finish, final polish. DALL-E 3 is a really capable general-purpose generator, good all-rounder. Gemini 2.5 Flash Image seems to be carving out its niche specifically in those systematic brand and product workflows where you need that consistent visual language across potentially hundreds or thousands of assets.
So not necessarily a replacement, but a powerful new tool for specific kinds of scale and consistency.
Exactly. And I think what we'll see is many teams pairing these tools. Use Gemini 2.5 Flash Image for the heavy lifting, getting scalable consistency, iterating quickly, then maybe bring the best results into Photoshop for those final detail touch-ups. Combine the scale with the polish.
That makes a lot of sense. Use the best tool for each part of the job. Smart integration. Now, you mentioned prompts are key, and getting good results from any AI really depends on how well you communicate with it. So how do we actually write better prompts to really unlock what Gemini 2.5 Flash Image can do? Any tips?
Absolutely. Prompting is definitely a craft here. Good prompts for this system sound less like keyword lists and more like a concise creative brief. You need to tell it what matters. So first tip, describe the scene in full sentences. Be descriptive, paint a picture with words, don't just list nouns.
Okay, more narrative.
Second, use camera language. Talk about framing, lenses, lighting, wide shot, macro lens, soft morning light, dramatic backlight. This guides the visual style effectively.
I had it. Think like a photographer.
Third, if that identity needs to stick, name the subject's key traits explicitly. If it's Sarah the astronaut or the sleek X1 widget, call out those defining features you want locked down.
Be specific about the subject. Makes sense.
Fourth, and we touched on this, ask for just 1 or 2 changes at a time. For really tight control, iterate in small steps. Don't try to rewrite the whole image in one prompt.
Incremental changes.
And finally, a really practical tip. Keep a library of your successful prompts. Treat them like code snippets. Version them. Reuse them. Build on what works. This helps maintain consistency and makes iterating much faster.
Like building your own style guide in prompts.
Exactly. And a good structure people find useful is having a detailed master prompt first, like a studio lit product shot of a matte black wireless mouse on a soft gray acrylic surface, 3-point lighting. You get the idea, very detailed. You feed that in, get your base image. Then, for the next version, your prompt is super short, changing just one thing. Change background texture to polished marble.
Ah, so you isolate the variable.
Right. The source material sums it up nicely. Consistency emerges from restraint. Don't overcomplicate the edits.
I like that. Consistency emerges from restraint. Good mantra for prompting.
Yeah.
Now, as we get excited about these powerful tools, we also need to talk about using them responsibly. What kind of guardrails are built in, especially around things like authenticity and knowing where an image came from?
That's hugely important, and thankfully, Google seems to be taking it seriously. Every single image that comes out of Gemini 2.5 Flash image gets two things: a visible mark, like a small logo or text, and also an invisible synth-eyed watermark.
Synthesized. That sounds interesting. How does that work?
It's pretty clever tech. It embeds a digital signal directly into the pixels of the image itself, but in a way that's basically imperceptible to the human eye. And the clever part is, it's designed to be really robust. It should survive even if the image is edited significantly, compressed, resized, screenshotted.
Wow, so it really sticks with the image.
That's the goal. It provides a strong way to track the origin and verify if an image was, at least initially, AI generated by the system. It's a good thing for the whole digital world, really. It helps with attribution, lets platforms potentially filter or label AI content, and helps brands and creators be transparent about using AI.
Transparency is key for trust, definitely.
For sure. And for teams using this at scale, the advice is solid. Document your own rules for acceptable use, keep logs of your prompts and maybe the seeds used for generation, and check a sample of your outputs regularly. It's about combining the creative power with responsible practices. As the source said, guardrails plus creativity make a sustainable practice.
Well put. Guardrails plus creativity. Okay, so we've covered what it is, how it works, how it compares, how to use it, and the ethics. Looking ahead, what's next? Where is Gemini 2.5 Flash image likely heading? What improvements can we expect down the road?
Yeah, the roadmap seems focused on refining and expanding these core capabilities. We can probably expect improvements in rendering longer text passages within images. That's still a tricky area for most AI. Also, expect even tighter identity locking, making that character consistency even more foolproof, and likely richer factual detail being understood and generated in really busy, complex scenes. The overall direction seems clear, pushing it from being a really impressive, capable tool to being an absolutely dependable, go-to daily driver for all sorts of visual tasks.
So smarter, more reliable, more deeply integrated into creative workflows. Sounds promising. All right, let's wrap this up. If you were one of those people who tried AI image editing maybe a year ago, got frustrated with the inconsistencies, that wobble.
And kind of bounced off it.
Yeah, exactly. It really does sound like it's time to take another look. This Nano Banana release seems to genuinely shift Gemini 2.5 Flash image into a much more practical, powerful system for creators, for product teams, for engineers, pretty much anyone working with digital visuals.
It feels like a step change towards production readiness.
So our call to action for you listening, it's pretty simple. Maybe start in the Gemini app. Just get a feel for the speed and the control yourself. Then, if you need automation or want to build it into bigger systems, start exploring those API options. Keep an eye on the costs using that token pricing we talked about. And remember those practical limits, like the number of input images to keep things running smoothly. The goal really, as the source puts it, is ship something real this week. Use it to actually create.
Make something tangible with it.
Exactly. But here's a final thought I want to leave you with, something to chew on. Think beyond just making single images better or faster. What happens when you can reliably maintain consistent identity, consistent design, consistent style across hundreds, maybe thousands of dynamically generated visuals? How could that fundamentally change brand storytelling, personalized marketing, even just how we think about visual communication online? It's not just about one image anymore. It could be about creating entire, adaptable, living visual languages. What does that future look like?